Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Card Guys coverages of the ProQuest Plus Hong Kong. I'm Aaron. I am joined by Taylor from the Card Guys, and we're starting it off round 4. We got Colin Lee on Aurora versus Roscar playing Ira, a matchup a little bit familiar in this weekend. I believe Nathan Crawford said that it was one of his favorite matchups in the game. I personally myself love Ira, and I know Taylor loves Aurora, so I feel like this is hopefully going to be a good one, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of this matchup. I've always felt like this matchup is really play draw dependent. I feel like it's like a 10%er, whoever goes second. What are your opinions on this matchup when you play Ira?
So, Ira is a numbers deck that mixes in some hard to block damage with some disruption. Aurora is generally weak to disruption, so I think it really depends on when the Ira's disruption lines up. And also, the Aurora is probably going to have some on turns and off turns throughout the game, and the Ira's ability to punish those on turn and off turns is really going to decide who ends up taking out in the end, I think. Because a lot of times if Aurora takes a setup turn and then Ira can't present enough offense because their hand only blocks, that just gives Aurora a free round to cheat with. Starting out, looks like the Ira went first, throwing Kodachis, trying to leak some damage. Aurora generally can't block on average a lot with her random hand texture, so you're always going to leak at least a little bit of damage with the first Kodachi, take a card off of the second Kodachi, and then you might as well throw some damage to try and snipe some zero blocks that the Aurora might have.
Yeah. So in terms of the Ira actually going off an action point here is kind of interesting because there is a thought process where you actually never want to let go of your action point for the pure fact that the Aurora can actually play a channel, the Lightning Valley, and make an embodiment of lightning while also only leaking in like 2 to 3 damage, which is usually worth more than value than 2 to 3 damage in this matchup. So it's interesting to see that they are threatening that that 5 value off of the attack of Pounding Gale. I assume it's also maybe because they just don't want that card in hand. But that is an interesting choice there.
Yeah, there's definitely a risk reward aspect to it. It really depends on what the Aurora's hand texture is.
I see
Roscar seeming to want to get the cards out, and it looks like Colin's thinking about this block a lot, so maybe the hand doesn't block that well, or maybe he has some of those setup cards. Oh, yeah. Looks like Sigil of Suffering coming down.
Holy smokes, that is a very defensive hand from the Ira. Ink and Fate.
Arsenal a Fate for Scene for the second cycle might be relevant. Sometimes these matchups can go pretty long if the Ira plays extra defensively, but being able to establish a D-React on turn 0 is definitely good. Aurora not able to generate any value on the Ira's first turn, so we'll see how efficient the Aurora can play their first hand. And starting out with an Arc Lightning, which is either the most efficient or the least efficient play that Aurora can make sometimes.
Yeah, as we found out.
Isn't going to be helping here.
Oh, yeah. So what key cards are you looking for out of the Ira for this matchup? Like weakest link? Are you looking for CNCs?
Definitely any disruptive attacks that are effective against Ira. So Command and Conquer, although we see that the Aurora has Crown of Providence, so the first one is going to not have that much effect. Weakest link is really good against Aurora. She plays a lot of instants in her deck, and she's not really good at blocking it. And if her hand is full of instants and she has to block with her attacks, then she might not have a good use for the instants left in her hand. So both of those are kind of your premier ones. Anything outside of that is mostly just value trading, trying to utilize Ira's ability as much as possible. Ira still needs to kill Aurora generally, and since Aurora isn't blocking, Ira actually does have a lot of avenues to reduce their life total pretty quickly. So you want to attack most turns if you can as Ira, and block efficiently and block any draw on hits that Aurora sends at you.
So is there any chance that you're thinking about pitch stacking this matchup as Ira, or does this game not usually go down to second cycle?
If the game is that late, you're probably hoping that the Kodachis are going to do most of the work in that end state. You could, pitch some more powerful second cycle cards, for it to come up, but generally that would involve you pitching red cards that you would rather just play or block with. So I wouldn't take like value negative lines to do so, but it is a consideration.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also really nice seeing, as we mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of Old Briar, and it's just always nice to see these 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4, because the incremental value of just 1 over rate is eventually going to, start pinging Ira, and then it pretty much comes down to the 0 for 4s versus the Kadachi value.
Yeah, Aurora full of 0 for 4s and 0 for 5s in the case of this Arcanic Shockwave. Ira taking value blocks when she can, not needing every card in her hand for offense, wanting to keep her life total high to drag out the game. The longer the game goes, the more value Ira can abstract throughout her deck and throughout her hero power.
Mm-hmm.
Aurora, while is full of 0 for 4s, does have to piece together some cards that have different requirements, either because they need certain conditions to be met to gain go again, or you need a mixture of instance and attack actions. So not every hand is just able to convert easily for 4 damage on every single card, and Ira is looking to punish the turns in which Ira is unable to do so.
Oh, so similar to this turn right here, where you just go Pounding Gale and then Arsenal.
Tunic Pounding Gale, 1 card 5, not a bad, offensive rate. Arsenal card. Aurora, not really interested in 5 vanilla damage, would much rather keep the offense up.
Yep. So as the Aurora, I'm always trying to look for chipping on the majority of turns, and then maybe once every 3 to 5 turns, I'm looking to push a lot of damage while taking a lot of damage. And it looks like this is what we're looking at the moment. Due to the burn up shock dealing damage, the second strike will have go again. So 4 with go again, on hit 4 more. That seems pretty good. Oh, little wax.
Wax on.
That's spicy. I like that.
This Ira list seems to be very block heavy, has lots of D-reacts, assuming playing Flick Flack. We saw Sync. We saw Fate Foreseen and Wax On. So this deck is definitely well teched to beat the 4 power attacks. Burn Up Shock and the 4 power is actually kind of interesting against Aurora because other than D-reacts, she doesn't really have a lot of great ways to block the 4 power breakpoints. She doesn't really have armor that she can just throw away when she wants to. Tiger Stripe Shuko and Mask of Momentum, block 2 1 time in the game. And Mask is something you kind of want to keep as long as possible to threaten the offense. Shuko, not quite as relevant in Ira, but she doesn't have the flexibility that, like a Runeblade would, playing Grasp of the Arknight, where you can just throw your armor down on a couple snatches early in the game. So when Ira doesn't have these D-reacts, it's pretty difficult to avoid the on hits, which we see now with the Burn Up Shock connecting.
You know what it looks like, honestly, from my perspective? This matchup reminds me a lot of like watching new players play the Ira starter decks, where you're blocking efficiently, you're playing 2 cards hands into each other, and then occasionally you'll draw that Miss Blossom and you'll take all the damage. That's what honestly it looks like.
Fab 101 Math Fundamentals. You have a deck that is really good at blocking, but also is rewarded for attacking. With the hero power, you get a value bump when you play offensive leaning. The goal of Flesh and Blood is to win the game generally, and unless your plan is to hardcore fatigue, you still have to reduce your opponent's life total to 0, and attacking is the way to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Which Aurora is definitely good at, as we see Flittering Charge starting the turn, coming down with the Electrostatic Discharge, classic combo. Met with another D-react. This Ira's deck is just full of them. One thing I think I would take note as the Aurora player, seeing all of this massive D-reacts, is I would be very liberal in my turns in which I try and set up. I think this Aurora should be prioritizing arsenaling and making embodiment tokens or rune chants on off turns, because I feel like the deck construction of this Ira is going to lead her to draw very bricky hands on offense. Even if you leave the Ira with 4 or 5 cards randomly, the chances that her best turn is just Kadachi and attack is pretty high. Her hand is going to get bricked up with a lot of these D-reacts and cards without go again. It seems like her deck is designed to block as much as possible. Lots of 3 blocks, haven't seen a ton of natural go again from her, so her
Mhm.
ability to convert's probably lower than some other versions of Ira.
Oh yeah. So as the Ira player, are you actually ever looking to take a line to utilize masking momentum in this matchup, or are you purely almost playing it as a 2-block? Is it ever something that comes up in your mind?
I think threatening masculine momentum is important to kind of get in your opponent's head. The actual
Mhm.
value from masculine momentum is pretty swingy. It could be really good if you draw like another disruptive attack that you can put in your arsenal to set up for the next turn or a D-react, but the chances you draw a blue 0-for-1 combo card are pretty high as well, and those cards aren't very useful off of masculine momentum. So sometimes the threat of it is more value than the actual draw you get, but it is still worth doing, and cards like Take the Tempo end up being really good in those type of play lines.
Mhm. Seeing the second Arc Lightning is a very scary proposition this right now. So not
Arc
something
Lightning
that
followed up by Gone in a Flash, two of Aurora's best cards.
fan of that
Let's see if
card.
she has the instance. She does have the Channel Lightning Valley. Gonna be able to draw a card. Ira not having the D-React to cover up the Gone in the Flash, or at least choosing not to do it.
Yeah, because of the rules interaction with Gone the Flash, you cannot actually play Channel Lightning Valley and Gone the Flash and keep it around. Yeah, and draw off of the channel. That's
Because of
all.
the resolution step, the timing.
Yeah, because you'd actually lose the go again from Gone the Flash. So you actually have to deny the Gone the Flash trigger. That's an Auxilio trick.
Well, even if the text wasn't relevant here, it was still a 0-for-4 with Go Again. Exactly what Aurora wants to do. Followed by Starfall, followed by a Snatch.
Also keeping the Starfall around. Keeping the channel around for next turn. Blocking for 5 here. Little do you know, you got the Lightning Press here.
Colin having to pitch a red for the Starfall, not quite as optimal. You would much rather have a blue card so that you can activate the Grasp of the Arknight to get a couple extra points off of the Arc Lightning. But you do what you have to do. Channel can stick around. Still get some damage in. 16-11. Aurora going to be able to go into their turn with a full hand. Ira just throwing another 1-card 5. Censor. Technically disruption, but kind of dubious as to its effect. You're kind of just playing a guessing game and statistics at this point, what Aurora might have in their hands.
You could just have the Millennium Eye see into your opponent's hand.
Yeah, if you got like a mirror behind your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I've always done it.
You could just big brain them. You ask them what is in their hand, and then you just either read their reaction or they tell you.
That's what I've always done. I'd be like, "Do you have that?"
Bad players never lie, so if they tell you the card's in their hand, you just name it, and it always works.
I always name Pommel. That's the only card I'll ever name. Doesn't matter
Sounds
who I'm
like
playing against.
you might not want to play Censor, I think.
Oh, okay.
I might recommend some of the other 1-for-5 options in Ira.
Oh, bingo!
That is a 1-for-5 block 3.
I mean, that's a good rate.
Aurora choosing to respect it, doesn't want to leave it up to chance. Choosing to block 5.
4-card hand with the channel. Oh, revealing the press. What a dirty play there. That's dirty.
Getting in your opponent's head. Showing him that you have it. Before going again, threatening that draw, the Channel Lightning Valley, almost surely probably going to draw a card unless the Ira's hand is just full of reactions, which
I see that.
doesn't seem to be the case. And even if it was, just the way the Lightning Press interacts, it's just there's no way you can deny it.
Well, here you can give up Tunic and a 3-block, and then I see that's all you got in hand. So you could block 4, then when they press it, that's all you got. Use Masking Momentum for Starfall, and then if you have another D-React, you could deny channel turn here, I believe.
I believe the Ira has a Flick Flack in hand, so you could lead with the Flick Flack, and then that all you got, the Lightning Press.
Oh, I did not see that in hand. That
is probably what I would play here. I'm not sure if the Ira had a combo card in hand to get extra block value. Oh, looks like they are giving up the Tunic. Looks like they're wanting to preserve the defense reactions, maybe potentially saving it in Arsenal for a future turn. Doesn't find that this tunic is going to give him enough value throughout the course of the game. Lightning Press coming down.
I assume we're going to see that's all you got here. I know they probably wanted to wait for the Starfall, but they might be thinking that they can deny it purely through that Mask and Momentum block on Starfall. I think from this point, the Irish is thinking, how can I actually win the game instead of not lose the game?
Yeah, with Snapdragon Scalar still up, Aurora has a lot of insurance for bricking, and with only 11 life, trying to block out and wait for the Aurora to brick, you'll probably end up dying before.
Interesting.
Looks like choosing to use the Flick Flack instead of that, all you got. Really probably wanting to maybe use it on this Starfall here. Like you said, get that card back. That is the case.
So let's see if
Followed
they
by
have a combo.
Snatch.
Hey, the mask block.
No, that... I believe that combo card should have blocked for 5 after the Flick Flack.
Yeah, so Mom should still be around at this point, yes. Maybe they were trying to play around another Lightning Press.
And there's what I said about drawing a random card in Ira. It looks like they just drew a blue and just decided to send 2 Kodachis with it. Not a very useful arsenal, so would have much rather seen another D-React or a red card to arsenal, but 3 damage is 3 damage, I guess.
Jeez. Man, watching this Aurora play is giving me old Briar thoughts. 4, 4, 4, 7? So at this point, I'm trying to think, is it possible for the Ira to win? We might see a good comeback.
As many games as I've seen and played, I feel like every Flesh and Blood game is winnable and losable at almost any point in the game.
Oh, yes.
I've seen some very dramatic turn of events, so I won't count the game out now. It's 9-12. Again, the Aurora deck is prone to bricking to some capacity at some point, and if that ever does happen, 12 life is not a lot for the Ira to threaten with the right sequence of cards. And as soon as the Aurora has to start blocking for their life total, the tempo of the game massively swings into the Ira's favor, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. They've been sitting on that arsenal for a bit. I'm very curious about to see what it is.
Aurora using those Snapdragon Scalars this turn, so that brick insurance is gone now if Aurora bricks on go again. That could be that turning point that Ira needs. Ira not blocking the Starfall maybe shows that her hand has an offensive card in it. She would really like to keep 2 cards if possible. She really needs to start throwing Kodachi into some kind of disruptive attack at this point in the game with Crown of Providence gone. Grasp of the Arcanite still has a block on it, so the 7 breakpoint won't matter quite as much, but you really need to start stripping cards out of Aurora's hand if possible. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. I think I see a Warmonger's Diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
E-Strike, and maybe that's a random blue card. Maybe thinking about what is the expected value of a Warmonger's against Aurora. Yeah, Brad Locals block. Looks like the Ira is gambling on the effectiveness of this Warmonger's Diplomacy. It's not necessarily a slam dunk into this matchup. However, it's not nothing. I mean, Auroras have been known to use the card themselves, but we have already seen things like Burn Up Shock. We know Aurora plays Arc Lightning. We know they play Flicker Wisp. There is a non-zero chance that this could have a massive effect. But when you're behind in the game like this, I think you need to take those risks. And we'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, yeah. The Warmongers, I think the big thing it does is it denies the value from Arc Lightning and Flicker Wisp, which I don't think we've seen as Flicker Wisp this game. So so usually you'd be unaware if your opponent's actually playing it, but it is good insurance. Starfall's coming in for 1. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He tells his opponent.
Just one, no go again.
I promise.
Oh,
I promise. Oh, whoa!
Oh, surprise. 2 go again. Oh, never mind. It's just 1.
It's just 1
It was
again.
right all along. Probably has another instance thinking. Yep, so wanting to turn it on with the electrostatic discharge instead. Gonna save the Lightning Valley, potentially maybe as an arsenal if the Ira blocks out fully after this, rather than commit it to the board and just have your turn
Is
blocked
this
out
the
anyways.
first embodiment of lightning we've seen this game? That is so interesting.
I think maybe. The Aurora hasn't really had too many issues stringing together hands.
Wow, that's
Lightning
cool.
Surge coming in for 7 with go again. Ira does have a sink below to cover up the breakpoint, so the Channel Lightning Valley won't be able to connect here.
No way!
Playing it out though to make him use it.
If you're the Ira here, are you thinking about trying to find a disruptive threat to Arsenal or a D-React or maybe even a blue? Because I think that was a red that we saw.
If it is just a vanilla red, like a 1 for 5,
Yeah.
I think probably, yeah, I would sink it. But drawing another pouncing key, blue card off the top, sadly can only swing 3 again. Not quite where you want to be. Arc Lightning coming down.
Should have played the Warmongers this turn.
Ira does have a blue card to pay for the Arc Lightning. We'll see how the rest of the turn lines up. Ira needs a blue generally to attack efficiently. So unless she has 2, it's unlikely that she would be able to play a strong 2-card hand. However, at 5, don't really have too many windows to keep a bunch of extra cards. At this point in the game, you're kind of just trying to survive and hope the Aurora whiffs a little bit on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Aurora probably thinking about her options on how to maximize this Arc Lightning go again damage.
Oh, yeah.
You want to try and get value out of this channel Lightning Valley if possible. However, because the Ira's already pitched a blue, if you sink your resources into things like Grasp of the Arknight, then you're not really threatening card draw here. Maybe that's one of the decisions they're thinking of. Instead of playing attacks which would force blocks or threaten the channel Lightning Valley, but maybe get less Arc Lightning value.
Man,
Could be a decision on what's better between threatening on hits versus raw numbers.
Mm-hmm. What a great card that is, Arc Lightning.
Tunic Starfall. Not utilizing the go again on Arc Lightning, but utilizing more Arc Lightning damage. Current funnel.
2 with go
Coming
again.
down, more go again.
And then this will also give the next the next action card go again.
Yep. Still haven't really threatened a attacking breakpoint quite yet. Without armor, Ira only has any more D-reacts left to rely on to be able to block those. Blocking it out, committing to the defense. Now coming in for 7. Ira's not going to be able to block this. But this Scar for Scar has go again, right? With current funnel?
Right.
Wax on coming down, at least blocking for 5. But
and then channel draws the card.
0 for 4, yep.
Sheesh. Aurora just doing Aurora things. Made 1 embodiment of lightning all game.
Yep. It looks like it was a sink below an arsenal. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ira not really presenting anything threatening other than Kodachi's, so Aurora choosing to keep that in there. But good game, well played. That just shows when the Aurora does the Aurora things, it's kind of hard to keep up in the value. We didn't see those important disruptive pieces that we might have liked to. And as you can see, because Ira, like I said, doesn't have those armor pieces, you're really relying on D-Reacts to stop some of those on-hits, and you just don't have enough of them in your deck compared to what Aurora can dish out.
Mm-hmm.
But good game. Congratulations to Colin. And we will see you guys in the next round. Welcome back, guys. We are here at round 5 of Hong Kong Pro Quest Plus. We have another Ira versus Aurora match, this time with a familiar face. We got Wenla on Aurora. We've seen him before from Team Blue Pitch. Very proficient in the Aurora deck versus another Ira, piloted by Lung. And he is ready to play Aurora. Got that beautiful Ira Scar for Scar playmat.
And the unsleeved Kodachis. Let's go.
And the unsleeved Kodachis for maximum tilt.
Love it. That's when you know you're playing against a gamer.
Ira wouldn't sheath her Kodachis.
You don't think so?
Nah, you don't need to.
Oh,
they're
come
too covered
on.
they're too covered in blood all the time. You just get the inside of your scabbard dirty. Got some lessons from Kasai. You just always walk around brandishing your weapons.
I'm gonna actually have to ask James White about that. I was like, does Ira sheath her sword? Like, this is
I guess her
lore.
weapon's technically Edge of Autumn, right? So she wouldn't probably have Kodachis. These are like her backup weapons. She dropped her main weapon before the game started.
True. Maybe we see Edge of Summer eventually, or Edge of Winter. Edge of Spring?
We love our flavorful cycles. Anyways, we got Aurora versus Ira once again. Very interesting matchup. We'll have to see how this one pans out from the ones we've seen previously. So far, Aurora seemed to have the leg up. Ira not able to deal with the onslaught of breakpoints consistently enough. And the Aurora decks and pilots just have seemed to string together strong enough sequences turn after turn to push through anything that the Aurora wants to do. Ira going first again, once again, swinging Kodachis, Aurora not blocking the first one, get that free damage on turn 0. We'll see if the Ira decides to,
hey, it's the exact same.
Mirrored sequence as last game, following it up with a Pounding Gale.
Let's see if this Aurora can punish the losing of an action point here.
Maybe 3-0 blocks in hand, we'll see.
Hey, I've drawn them before. It sucks every time. Oh, there we go.
Sigil of Suffering, again, exactly mirroring what happened in the previous game.
Oh, hold on. Hey.
Oh, we did get the channel Lightning Valley established on turn 0, only losing 2 damage to do that, I guess. I mean, I guess you didn't lose it. The last card in hand was a Lightning Press, so you wouldn't have been able to block it anyways, but Ira leaking 3 damage on turn 0 in return for Aurora starting the game with a channel Lightning Valley. With that Lightning Press in hand, maybe likely that this Lightning Valley gets to draw a card unless the Ira has a D-React.
Making a rune chant is never a good sign in Aurora.
As the Aurora player?
Yeah. It's not something you want to be doing.
Looks like did not have any natural sources of go again in their attacks, just deciding to play a Static Shock for 4 Lightning Flow. If you've played a Lightning card, which we see that there is this Lightning Press, it'll threaten a additional damage, but no go again currently. Could use the Snapdragon Scalers. Ira actually chose to take the Rune Chant.
I kind of like it. Maybe this is going to be a more aggro slanted. Holy smokes. Press.
I guess that is some form of go again, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
mean, kind of like go again.
Yeah, it's a 3-card 11, 12.
Yep, making the Rune Chant when Channel Lightning Valley in play is actually kind of smart here, because with the Tunic not up, you don't really have a good way to just block 1 arcane damage without getting rid of an entire card. Ira didn't want to basically discard a card to prevent 1 damage, even if it did threaten a card draw. If the Aurora doesn't send any further arcane damage in the turn, which ends up being likely to be the case, then the resources would go wasted. Ira has a D-React, still looking to take 7 damage here if no further D-Reacts are played.
Look at those beautiful extended art presses, though.
Lightning cards are very pretty. I love the foiling on them. So getting through quite a lot of damage on the first turn, even though not having a bunch of go again.
Oh, strategically keeping your life total a little bit lower than your opponent's for this scar for a scar.
Ira saw the lightning presses coming and knew that the scar for scar was going to be online.
That's why they took the 1 damage. It all makes sense now.
Matching the playmat. We do see right off the bat a little bit of difference in deck philosophy. The Ira in the previous game had a deck stuffed full of defense reactions, whereas Scar for Scar is a sign that this Ira probably has a bit more offensive options, so we might see a little bit less blocking here and trying to pressure the Aurora's life total as quickly as possible.
Also, interesting to note here, the Ira player also played out the 9 value instead of just playing out the CNC with the 2 reds. So that might actually tell a little bit more about the game plan than anything else.
Yep, very early in the game, Crown of Providence still online. Pitching 2 reds for Command and Conquer is not definitely where you want to be. Choosing to take the higher value line, although pitching a red for your 1 for 5 isn't quite where you want to be either, but it happens. Sink below to answer the snatch. Somersault getting the snatch back. Arc Lightning being covered here. Scar for Scar, alternate art. One-upping the Ira opponent. Saying, you have a Scar, I have a much more expensive Scar for Scar.
Gorgeous card.
Keeping Wenlaw keeping his life total at a strategic lower point than his opponent, of course. Flesh and Blood at 101.
So, looking like he's deciding to take all 5. Oh, 4, because he had 1 floating. Knowing that one of the cards in hand is a snatch, though, so he always has to remind himself about that.
And the snatch coming back down immediately. Might be a sign that the Snapdragons are going to come down here, or perhaps we might see the 3rd Lightning Press. Snapdragons coming down, or not having... Oh, Wax on. So we do have an extended number of D-Reacts in the Ira deck, and the 3rd Lightning Press showing its head.
Holy smokes.
What a fantastic turn here. Aurora drawing a lot of cards. Arcanic Shockwave with the fuse. 5 damage and arsenaling one of your best arsenal attacks in the game. Lightning Surge. That is not where you want to be as Ira. You took quite a lot of damage through a very block-heavy hand. And the Aurora still arsenals a good card.
If I drew like that, I'd be playing Aurora too.
It is working out for these players in Hong Kong, that's for sure. Ira kept some cards, going to throw a little bit of offense. Kadachi, we'll see what the follow-up is. It'll either be a 2-cost disruptive attack, which is what we see it is. The weakest link, trying to catch some of those instants. Although with all of the lightning presses already seen, Aurora said, yeah, I ain't going to draw any more instants. I'll show you this beautiful hand. Burn Up Shock. Actually, I don't know. Wait, Burn Up Shock counts as a no block? No, it's a block 3.
Yeah, it's a block 3.
Right, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Full knowledge of the turn is not nothing. Getting to see your opponent's hand lets you have informed blocking decisions, but it's not quite the value you would like to see for sure.
I was about to say, because like you're revealing to your opponent
how dead you are.
Yeah, I was about to say, you reveal your hand, and you know your opponent's going to go 4/4, Tunic 2, 4/4.
Yep, very difficult to block. We do see a Fate Foreseen in Lung's hand, but with no arsenal, no additional blocking value to be had from arsenal. Going to be pretty tough to stop this burn up from triggering.
We really need it for the, I believe that was the 2nd strike we saw. So
yeah, Ira is aware of the 2nd strike, so blocking the Starfall definitely worth doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe thinking on, do they want to give a card or potentially one of their pieces of armor?
Oh, deciding to just
Okay. We're
be
changing game plans here.
aggressive.
We just
Be aggressive.
Ira knows that the likelihood of them stopping the full turn is pretty low, so go ahead and just take the burn up shock here and do the best thing that they can with their hand, which looks like to be either blocking higher power attacks, which would make sense, or maybe keeping some cards for offense, trying to swing the pressure back a little bit. But fortunately, this turn, it looks like it's going to continue after this, so Ira has to be careful about their life total just being evaporated. Ravenous flipping a red as usual, followed by the Lightning Surge with Go again, followed by Static Shock. Saving the Fate Foreseen for the on hits, saving an extra point of damage. When passes turn with another card in Arsenal.
I think after watching these Aurora games, I gotta go start practicing Aurora.
Aurora looking very, very strong in these matchups so far. Ira's just not been able to string together the disruption that they would want.
And
Crown
still
of
having
Providence still online.
I would say still having 5 block available on equipment. 6 technically, but oh wow.
Having that much armor as an aggro deck, so good.
Seems good. Big fan.
Looks like blocking a Kodachi with Grasp of the Arknight, maybe for Mask of Momentum. Sensor coming down.
Yes, because of the rabble revealing the E-Strike, he knows that the sensor can aim E-Strike. So he's probably trying to think if he can pitch it to the Starfall or block with it. Or maybe even Arsenal it. So he has to look at all the avenues that he can do here.
But with blocking the Kodachi with the Grasp of the Arknight, you kind of lose that free 5 block without giving up your Crown of Providence. So Aurora has to think here, do I let the Ira name the E-Strike and then find another use for it? Or do I block this out and have a little bit of a weaker turn? Mask of Momentum not threatened here, but the sensor acting as a bit of a mind game once again. Wenlaw having to think about the different potential outcomes. I think at this point in the game, Taylor, do you think that we're going to see second cycle?
I think we're going to not see halfway through the first cycle.
This has been a very explosive game so far.
Yeah.
The triple lightning press is getting quite a lot of value early on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. The only downside is whenever they throw a disruption at you, you can't use them to block. So I guess if you can see them when you have tempo, they look pretty good.
Dodging the weakest link turn.
Yeah. Nothing scarier than throwing weakest link at your opponent and they pretty much instantly declare no blocks. And then you go, well, that was a cool 2-card 8. That does nothing.
Looks like Wen is looking to give up the Crown of Providence to keep his hand fully intact. Choosing to sink below the Arsenal, or Crown sink the Arsenal. Either he has a D-React or looks like he's taking it, so Ira deciding on what to name. We probably won't have the information on what was named, but we will make our inferred decision based on how the turn plays out. We see a Flicker Wisp in the hand of Aurora.
I think it's the first time that we've seen that card in either of our Aurora matches in the PTI.
Quite a powerful card when comboed with Arc Lightning, although a little inconsistent at times. Do you think that after seeing how these matchup is played out, do you feel like Aurora needs to play for the more inconsistent high roll plan? Because it seems like just the consistent output has been working well against Ira.
Yeah, I think more than likely watching this game, I'm just impressed with how consistent Aurora is drawing. There hasn't been that many. I think we've seen maybe in Hong Kong, 1 bricked hand, which would have been the double double lightning press from the Battle Hardened, which you should totally go watch. I believe it was round
I think it was
6.
6, yeah.
Yeah, 6. Outside of that, every turn from Aurora has looked smooth as butter. Absolutely fantastical.
Aurora's output definitely hard to beat when you draw the right sequences of cards.
Oh yeah.
Flicker Wisp is coming down, throwing 2 arcane damage. Aurora's going to AB1 and take 1.
So right now the Ira's just hoping you don't go Arc Lightning and blow my face off. That's all you're really hoping right now.
We'll see if there is no Arc Lightning. How many more sources of arcane damage can the Aurora threaten this turn? We did see a Burn Up Shock revealed. So the Shock, I believe, would get the bonus from the Flicker Wisp, as well as the Burn Up if it connects.
Correct.
So we'll see how well this Ira is going to be able to block out, and how well the Aurora is going to be able to string together the attack actions for the rest of the turn. Do you see a Flick Flack in the hand of Ira? It's definitely a good start.
Yep. Another big thing here. Oh, deciding to maybe use the Burn Up Shock as an instant to give the flickering go again. Yes.
Yeah. Potentially not having enough go again attacks, deciding to not play the Burn Up, instead just playing the Shock side of it to give the Flittering Charge go again. Not the most efficient use of a card, but if it unclogs your hand, it's definitely worth doing. Flick Flack coming down, blocking for 4, letting your next combo attack block for 5. Combo attack, great. Another way to gain some block point coverages. Didn't have to worry about the Burn Up Shock there. The Flicker Wisp not doing a crazy amount of damage, although Ira not able to keep any cards for offense, so Wen gets to go into another turn with a full 5-card hand. No embodiment, no Snapdragon Scalers. Ira praying that Aurora doesn't draw 3 Entwined Lightnings and a Lightning card. East Strike coming down from Arsenal. Almost assuredly choosing go again.
Yep.
Channel Lightning Valley coming down.
I would politely ask my opponent to stop drawing that card.
East Strike Go Again is kind of an awkward block when Channel Lightning Valley is a potential, because most of the time Aurora's attacking for 4, and if you have a D-React, you're kind of safe to say no blocks and then D-React the Lightning Valley. But East Strike coming in for 5 means that your 4 block D-Reacts doesn't cover it unless you give something on the initial block. So actually kind of working out here. Still deciding to Flick Flack, though, for value. Makes sense, but Aurora gets that card draw.
You can tell these lists are getting very well tuned as the meta evolves, just due to the fact of the lack of embodiments that we're seeing. The decks have
Aurora decks
go again.
Playing very similar cards, very, very clean. I don't know if the Ira had a combo card in hand. I think I saw Rowdy Locals as their blue. Wouldn't really matter here.
I think I see Crane Dance.
If you wanted to block the Starfall, it would consume the Flick Flack, but it looks like it did not. Oh, he did have a combo card, so able to block the second strike, get a little bit of extra value. Is going to be able to keep a little bit of offense, but 15-5, it's just you're in this hole now where you're really just praying that Aurora can't keep stringing offense, or you land a very, very timely disruption attack, which this is the turn to do it, if any. Bittering Thorns, just damage. Aurora probably isn't going to care about it that much. Kind of has information now that Aurora could just value block whatever is best for their hand. They don't have to worry about a sneaky... Oh, actually, with Tunic up and 1 resource, it could still represent a CNC. or a weakest link.
Yeah, this is a
Definitely have
damned
to
if
think
you
here.
do, damned if you don't block here. You're actually incentivized not to block, which is kind of funny.
Kind of depends on if you feel like you need to block as the Aurora because you can't use all the cards. If you can use all your cards anyways, then you wouldn't care and you just take it, which Wenlaw seeming to take it, either trying to play around potential disruption or just knowing that they can play their full hand. Ira not throwing disruption, unfortunately. Not threatening lethal, not throwing disruption, drawing three disruptive attacks in the very next hand. Really wish you would have seen one of those last turn. Entwine Lightning coming through 4-go again. It's one of the most consistent cards in Aurora. Ira not having a D-React unless one is an Arsenal. Thinking about giving up 2 armor pieces for this.
I mean, it makes sense. We're getting down to the end game. Mask and Momentum and Shuko have got 0 value. So you're kind of like thinking, I can give perfectly 2 armor pieces, and then I have 4 cards left. They're all 3 blocks. So you're going to give Tunic and another card from hand for another 4 block. Oh, okay. So they got 2 blocks. So that's fine. So you're probably
wanting to deny the second strike value as long as possible, as well as the Channel Lightning Valley. Makes sense to give armor here. Looks like Tunic might go down. Or
Don't forget to float the 1.
Float the 1, any potential arcane coming through. Yep, blocking with the Tunic. These matches do kind of show how, in this matchup at least, that Ira's equipment suite just isn't really on par with some of the other heroes in terms of its synergy with their game plan. Mass Momentum never really being a relevant effect in these games, and Tiger Stripe Shuko, I don't think I've seen it even be activated or triggered.
I don't think I have either in all my games.
And having only Blade Break 2 in all of your zones just isn't quite as good as what some of the other heroes have.
It's a shame. It's a real shame.
E-Strike coming down, I think... I didn't see if Wenlaw drew a card or if this is for 7. Likely for 7 to try and push through as much damage as possible, although a card's still
might
in
also
hand.
be a go again to Tunic Starfall.
It could be. Threaten the draw on as many chain links as possible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Ninja. Big fan.
When Aurora was spoiled, a lot of people did call her Lightning Fi.
Nah, Fi can never be this good.
It's been a long time. Rest in peace, Stubby Hammers.
Hammerers.
Looks like Mass Momentum block might be coming down. So looks like 5-go again was the mode chosen. Following up with a Scar for Scar. Wenlaw, unfortunately, did not think about his life total when he drew this card. Does not have go again, but...
He strategically did not think about it.
No lightning card play, so not able to activate Tunic to use the Starfall.
No combo in that hand, or that flick flack would have been equipment saving. I believe it would.
Ira able to block out the turn, but at the cost of all of their equipment, and the return is only pitching for 2 Kodachis when Aurora is at 7. Not really where you want to be at. Really, really banking on Aurora whiffing is the story of these games so far.
And Aurora just is not missing.
Just is not. When taking the 1, possibly taking the 2.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's something that you want to see as Ira.
Having some superfluous cards in hand.
Ooh, that's a good word.
Okay. We'll have to have a TheCardGuyz spelling bee one day.
I'd watch that. I wouldn't participate.
Flittering Charge coming down. We'll see if there's an instant. Because the Snatch was used to block Kodachi, the Ira has a little bit of information on what these cards could be. We know that whatever Aurora is planning on doing is going to consume their action point, and it is unlikely that they're going to have a clear arsenal at the end. So
What could it be?
choosing to block for 3 makes sense. No instant coming down. Kind of told a little bit from the snatch block. Looks like using Tunic and a red card to set up an embodiment of lightning. Pretty smart, actually. Drastically reduces the chance that happens again. However, you did give Ira offensive cards, and these are the type of pivotal moments in the games, because if the Ira is able to push out enough damage or relevant disruption on this turn with Aurora already down to 6, the game could start to flip here.
Ooh, this is a great spot for the Ira. Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what you want to see. Weakest link for 6, hope it matters. Can't see if there's an instant in hand, but either way, it is lethal damage, so the Aurora is going to have to give up some cards. Depending on whether there's an instant in Wenlaw's hand would determine whether or not the Aurora can afford to just give up one, or are they going to have to block with multiple cards in their hand. Ira at 4, meaning that 4 breakpoints aren't all threatening lethal. So if you can get the Aurora on a small hand, you actually have the life total to just single block 4 power attacks for quite a few turns. And if we're playing 1 to 2 cards versus 1 to 2 cards, I think my money might generally be on Ira.
What a great game this has been.
And we could see the potential advantage of leaning a little bit more aggressive as Ira. Lung choosing to take a bit more damage earlier to throw damage back threatens this life total parity end game state a lot quicker, and this game would look a lot different if the Aurora was at 10, if Ira was just only blocking.
So I think I see a Gone to Flash and an E-Strike in the hand for the Aurora players.
Yep. One comment, there's an Arc Lightning. Okay.
Ooh. Oh, and Exude Confidence.
All right, so it doesn't look like there's an instant, but you still have to think about how to best use this turn. One problem with Aurora hands is the pieces need to fit together, and sometimes if you have cards that block well and don't block well, they don't work without each other. And if you have to block with your attacks on this weakest link, what actually are you doing on your turn? You could see that Wenlaw, you could just block with like the E-Strike and the Gone in a Flash here, but left behind with just an Arc Lightning and one other card doesn't seem like it would push that much. Might be thinking about going to 1, blocking with Tunic and a Arc Lightning potentially.
Going to 1 against Ira is a very, very dangerous game.
Yeah, you're really needing your hand to strip every card out of Ira if you do that. Looks like blocking with Gone in a Flash, looks like he is going to go to 1. Very dangerous proposition here. Although Arc Lightning into... We got an embodiment of lightning, so we could lead off with the E-Strike if we want to get rid of this Arc Lightning, or we could get rid of the Exude Confidence.
I know this is going to be an interesting turn. What's in Arsenal? That's kind of the game right now.
All right, starting off with the Exude Confidence, having go again. We know that the hand is not full of blues here, so Ira is fairly safe to just block it normally. Choosing to go 4 into potentially E-Strike. Maybe E-Strike for 7 here. I'm not sure what the Aurora's arsenal is. Maybe if it's a 0 for 4, you could go 5 into 4. Try and get as many cards as possible. Ira has some 2 blocks, unfortunately. Not really what you want to see here. You would really like to be able to keep this blue in this 1 for 5 here, but that's just not going to be the case. So...
Uh-oh.
Oh, another Exude Confidence.
Take one.
Ira having to give the whole hand.
Uh-oh. So here's the game right here. Can Aurora draw a hand that converts?
No Arsenal, no embodiment in play. If Aurora can't at least attack with two
Oh, I
relevant
see a
attacks,
sigil.
probably this game is
Uh-oh.
going to be very tough. Yeah, I see a Sigil of Suffering. That's not what you want to see.
Best case scenario, you use it to swing Starfall.
I think I might have saw another Exude Confidence get flashed.
Do you know what both those cards have in common?
They're
No
not
go again. Yep.
That's the name of this game. How much go again did Aurora draw here?
Ooh,
Current funnel. Sort of go again.
Kinda. Oh man, what a
Definitely the turning point. If Wen cannot get every card out of Ira's hand this turn, we're going to be in a precarious position. But
strategically.
he's just so smart. He knew this would happen. 2-1, the most optimal scar for scar possible. 4 go again. Met with the wax on, locking it out. So there's a current funnel, a sigil of suffering, and
Exude.
I think that was the exude. Yeah.
So he can throw the exude. I believe it would be optimal to block 6 here to play around the single blue. I don't think you can play around double blue.
No, if you give all 3 cards here, you're just conceding the game.
I agree.
But
So
you definitely have to play around at least 1 pump because it's pretty likely that would be the case. But can the Ira actually block 6? You know, they might have a 2 block in hand, and if it's like a 2 block red card that they want to keep, they might not be able to do anything back on their turn except arsenal it or throw 1 Kodachi, which just would get the tunic block. So
yeah. So more than likely here we're going to see a block 6, Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2. Then on the Aurora's turn we'll probably see a tunic block, and then the sigil block. And
yeah, we
then
do have
it'll
to think that this Sigil of Suffering is going to be going into the arsenal this turn, most likely. So Ira getting kind of low, you know, we have to consider that end game scenario where if the Ira taps out to throw an attack, the Sigil could leak some extra value or damage there.
Mhm. I see a 2 block.
These 1-1 games are very interesting with the Kodachi deck versus the 0 for 4 deck. Best case scenario here for the Ira, you're able to block 6 and then throw 2 Kodachis. You would get at least 1 card from the Aurora. But even then, getting 1 card might not be enough at this point.
What a great game this has been, from the double lightning press to this. About to commit blocks.
Looks like Ira does have 3 blocks.
I saw a
Really
scar
likely.
for scar. Hard to be underneath what?
Unfortunately, not able to strategically place yourself under the scar for scar life total, but even though Lung has the scar for scar playmat, I think Wen Law has won the scar for scar battle this game. Blocking 6, choosing to play around the blue. Did not play a lightning card, so can't set up a embodiment.
Just trying to get the card out of his
just
hand.
pitching it just to get out of his hand. Makes sense. Arsenaling that Sigil of Suffering, really just looking for just go again attacks. Roscar is the play. Going to get at least one card. However, Sigil of Suffering coming down. Double Sigil of Suffering. No resources.
Wow, what an ending to that game.
Yep.
Holy
Double Kadachi
smokes.
would have a similar effect and keep a resource up, but unfortunately the Scar for Scar, you still have to throw it though. You can't play around double Sigil of Suffering, but you need to get cards out of the hand, so.
I think I'm going to go buy some sigils.
Very, very tricky endgame state. Very good game. Well played. Well played, Wenlaw. Congratulations on another victory with Aurora. Ira, you need to pick it up a little bit. You're slacking. You're supposed to be able to beat these aggro decks. I thought you were the value queen. What's going on? All right. Good game, everyone, and we will see you again in round 6. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pro Quest Plus Hong Kong. We are in the final round of Swiss, round 6, and we've got a spicy one here. We've got Tsang piloting Enigma, Ledger of Ancestry, versus Hennessy Wong playing Vynnset, the Iron Maiden. Vynnset, very cool hero, very fun hero. Hasn't quite had some of the top finishes that Vynnset players would like, but she always pops up on coverage. I see her quite a bit, and she can do some pretty disgusting things.
Yeah. It's actually a secret that if you play Vynnset, you get one stream game a tournament.
So no matter what your record is, like people just want to see it.
Yeah, there's like
0 and 4, doesn't matter, throw them on.
Yeah, that's kind of like the cool thing about the hero.
Vynnset versus Bolton? Yeah, put it on stream.
I mean, that's like table 143, but sure.
Anyways, Vynnset versus Enigma. Very, very interesting matchup. Obvious interaction here. Vynnset has the ability to give the first rune chant unpreventable, which will destroy all ward. Enigma has no counterplay to it. So the Enigma has to play the game knowing that at any point her board can be destroyed for 0 value. So you have to take different lines to try and deny the ability for Vynnset to deny you that value. Utilize more offensive strategies, or what you probably end up doing is just blocking a lot, to be honest. This game is likely to go fairly long. Enigma is probably going to defend quite often. You have a lot of blues to pay for rune chants. Vynnset's throwing a lot of non-break points and taking some setup turns, but we'll see. This is generally a tough game for Enigma, in my opinion. We do see Mage Master boots coming down, so likely on the 10,000 year reunion play. So looking to utilize those to give it a go again and swing in for 10.
Seems pretty good if you ask me.
Vynnset going first. Going first is pretty big in this matchup. Able to set up a rune gate and banish and play a Blessing of the Occult. Quite a strong turn 0 play. Enigma not having any instant speed stuff to punish this, unfortunately. But Vynnset going into their next turn with a rune gate in play and 4 rune chants kind of opens up almost any combination of turn you could possibly want to play.
So, as the Enigma player, you're looking for the go again attacks. So you're not trying to set up the board, but you're trying to attack like this, E-strikes, what else? Levels of Enlightenment. Are there any other cards that you think about in this matchup?
Yeah, basically anything that gains good value that doesn't rely on ward. Obviously, these generic attack actions aren't related to board state, so they're safe from, Vynnset's play patterns, but Enigma can't just play all generic attacks. At some point you're going to have to play some of your auras, but your auras do attack, so you want to try and get as much offensive value as possible. You're still going to look to probably traverse for Miragai and get bursts of damage that way. You're just pretty unlikely to be able to get the defensive value out of it, so you need to make up for that lost value in other ways, either by being overly defensive or overly aggressive, and it kind of depends on how the Enigma deck is set up. We see the Vynnset thinking of blocking here. Looks like blocking with the Runic Reclamation, so... Oh, Warmonger's Diplomacy coming down. That card is very good against Vynnset. stops the ability for her to play those shadow non-attack actions, although not relevant here, as the board is clear on the Enigma side.
Mm-hmm. Man, what a card that is.
Vynnset may be thinking about whether or not they want to take another setup turn, or if they just want to throw back maybe this Phantom Banshee or another Rune Gate in their hands.
We might see a massive turn leading up. Is it also awkward as the Enigma player into Vynnset when they set up, because you can't actually set up ward into it? Is that something that you have to
unfortunately,
process?
Again, it all comes down to that unpreventable arcane. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
Enigma can punish other setup decks by establishing board state and pseudo gaining life, but
Mm-hmm.
those lines just don't work versus this hero. You can kind of set up in other ways. Things like the Warmongers, I guess, or Truce. Some other cards can kind of punish the Vynnset for doing nothing on their turn, but your options are a lot more limited. And if you're not playing something like Count Your Blessings, then you probably can't use your full hand.
Mm-hmm.
So from the Vynnset's point of view, what kind of power turns are you thinking here? We see the Vynnset has 2 Rune Gates in Banish. I assume that's a pretty good place to be if you're able to chain together a bunch of Rune Chants with your Deathly Wells, gain some action points.
Yeah, so from the Vynnset side, I think you're mainly focusing on trying to chain 2 or 3 together. So I know that Vynnset plays cards like Shadow Puppetry, which is an innate go again. I think looking at their list, Machinations is going to be one of your non-attack actions that's going to help you go long. Of course, you have Creepers. You can Creepers in something such as like Rune Blood Incantation, Deadwood Dirge, things like that. But looking at this, they're looking to go a little bit taller, like Beseech the Demigod.
We've already
Cards.
seen a lot of those pumps, Beseech and Runic Reclamation.
Mm-hmm.
Rosetta just gave Vynnset so many tools to create Rune Chants.
And they're also fun.
Yep.
Uh,
Deadwood Dirge has been a very good boon for this deck.
Yeah, it's just yellow read the runes with a go again.
Enigma pitching 2 Spectral Manifestations for Arcane Barrier. Definitely not what you want to see. Unfortunately, the Spectral Manifestations just aren't really that great in this matchup. They're only, 4 damage offensively. The ward value often gets denied. Even if you combo it with something like a Restless Coalescence, which is one of your normal combos, all of the shields that you make just get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Enigma looking to preserve life total turn after turn, trying to catch the Vynnset potentially on a turn where they're not able to make a bunch of Rune Chants. Again, these matchups tend to go fairly long, so I wouldn't be surprised if Fatigue ends up being the win con here. But 3 Rune Gates in Arsenal, this Vynnset is just waiting to go off.
Yeah, and as mentioned, if we saw in the hand, I did see a Shadow Puppetry. So it might be using the Vexing Quell hand as a resource. We might see that. So let's see.
Yeah, and with the way these games tend to play out, the Enigma doesn't usually threaten the Vynnset's life total very hard. So Vynnset's kind of free to take as much blood debt and spam the hero power kind of as much as they want. If Enigma tries to trade aggressively, it is pretty likely that they are going to lose that exchange just because of how much value they're denied from the ward.
Oh, yeah. So, looking like we're going to get that deadly well. So you have 1 rune chant right now. You're probably trying to think about how to generate some more. The Eloquence token, it will probably help at some point with cards like Funeral Moon.
I guess Blessing of the Occult.
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
non-attack that doesn't have go again.
We might see arcane cussing.
I don't usually see eloquence being super broken in Vynnset most of the time. A lot of the times, like here, it just gets used up by nothing. But the
Mhm.
the 1 for 4 rune gate is just such a great stat line. Like even if it didn't make an eloquence token, you don't really care.
Yeah, agreed. So we are
You
using
were
it.
right. Vexing Quill Hand, get out of jail free card, similarly to Snapdragon Scalers and some other decks.
Oh, is
Looks
that
like
2 go again? I don't know if you saw, but the arsenal was machinations, so we might be able to go long.
yeah, this Deathly Whale, if it makes some rune chance here, we might see a triple rune gate turn.
Yeah,
See if
because what
Vynnset's
he
going to be
can
able to
do
make some other rune chance.
is that the 1 is unpreventable, so the Enigma is guaranteed to take 1. He can then, because this has go again from the Shadow Puppetry, swing Flail, then Tunic in the Creeper's Machinations, break the chain, generate 2 rune chance, and swing the I believe that's
I
another
think it's
elegy,
an
right?
eloquent. Yeah, it's an eloquent elegy and a phantom banshee.
Okay. So let's
But
see if he
both
takes.
players have already lost life this combat chain, so Deathly Well is online. Is going to be able to make 2 rune chance, resolving the Shadow Puppetry. Looks like Enigma is okay to take this damage here. Must have some proactive plays that they want to see. You knew that you were going to lose your life anyways, so denying the Deathly Well value is impossible.
Mhm.
So it's best to just do whatever your hand is best at. Enigma's a very flexible deck, able to pivot between offense and defense pretty fluidly, depending on what sequence of cards you draw. Looks like this might be a offensive hand from the Enigma, but unfortunately, it looks like this is shaping up to be a pretty powerful turn from the Vynnset. So that life total is gonna be crying.
I have no card. I have no idea in the world what card that is, but
I think that is a
oh, that's a
reduced
deadly
to rune
well.
chance.
Sure,
Oh,
sure, it's a deadly well.
so the Shadow Puppetry banished another Deathly Well. Okay, just keeping these banish zone full of Blood Dead attacks. And
Oops,
Vynnset doesn't really care about their own life total, so
oops, all deadly wells.
the only issue is Vynnset isn't chain. She doesn't get to just have free go again every turn, so you need to be able to draw your go again enablers, but also you need to be able to create your rune chance. Probably trying to figure out how to best use this turn. Actually, this turn actually kind of bricked a little bit because the
Yeah.
machinations you really want to play, but you don't have the rune chance to rune gate. But
Well,
this,
if you break the chain, won't you generate 2, allowing you to play the deadly well that you
oh
just
yes, that's
banished
right.
again?
She definitely wants to try
Oh,
and get this machinations out of arsenal so that she can arsenal the reduced to rune chant.
oh, never mind. I understand now because now he's gonna break the chain and generate 3 rune chants. Play the creepers, machinations, deadly whale with go again. Break the chain and then come in with. Okay, yeah, I see it all now, Aaron.
Enigma choosing to give the rune chant from the flail. I guess seeing that the Vynnset has both Runegate 1, 2, and 3 in their banish zone, they're pretty covered for options, so denying the extra rune chant from the flail isn't necessarily of the utmost importance because the Vynnset could just choose to play one of the lower rune gates.
Also very good at Yahtzee. 1, 2,
But
and 3.
punished a little bit here because the machination's coming down. We know this Deathly Well is going to trigger and get 2 more rune chants, so we're going to follow this up again by probably that Phantom Banshee and the Banish. Triple Rune Gate, pretty strong.
This Enigma is just taking it to the dome, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what this Enigma is going to piece together here.
I'm going to assume it involves Mirror Guy.
I am going to trust the decision making of Mr. M. Tsang here. He has a Marvel Japanese alt art Enigma and a Enigma playmat in a giant Ziploc bag, so I would assume that they know one or two things about this hero. Two rune chance coming down. It's like Creeper's being activated here.
I think Creepers was activated on the Machinations, and they're just like talking about it.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I have an action point because of the Machinations. And the Machinations gave the Deadly Well go again. It's like, ooh, cool. Oh, deciding not to play it.
Not
Spicy.
attacking? Huh.
Gamer moment.
Maybe
let's see.
valuing the 2 rune chance going into the next turn more than just pumping out as much damage as possible on that turn. Okay. We do see the Enigma Transcend off of the back of a Rage Spectre. Rage Spectre, not a bad card to play. Definitely more offensively leaned, which is what you want. 6 power is not too shabby to throw, and you're only losing 1 ward worth of value from the Rage Spectre if it gets blown up. Followed up by a Mirror Guy coming down. That's about exactly as you want to see with the Tunic counter on 3. The Enigma is going to be able to swing both of these for 14 damage and still keep that arsenal. So could definitely see why the Enigma was so adamant in keeping their hand. Being able to naturally transcend and play a Chi Mirror Guy without using Traverse the Universe is very, very good. It means that the next Mirror Guy that you draw, you're going to be able to traverse off of it. And we might actually see the game shift into a position where Vynnset actually might need to start thinking about their life total a little bit. Vynnset thinking about whether they should block and full of Runegate cards, 2 Runegate cards already in Banish, might be a little starved for action points.
Holy smokes, what a turn, though. Going up to 3.
Reduced to Runechant, coming in good value.
Daggum.
We'll see if the Vynnset has the Shadow non-attack action to clear this board. With the Vynnset committing cards to defense, if the Vynnset doesn't draw a Shadow non-attack action here and isn't able to clear this Mirror Guy, this is actually kind of a nightmare situation. If this Mirror Guy gets to attack again, and then with Traverse the Universe still open, Vynnset's life total is just going to be in trouble here.
I do not see a Shadow card. Ooh.
No, we got a Malefic Incantation and a Sonata Galaxia. No Shadow non-attack action, and with no go again. Although you could Creepers it. So there is a chance you might be able to play 2 attacks on the next turn, but there might be a chance that this Mirror Guide isn't cleared.
I don't think it is going to be cleared.
Not sure what the card Enigma is going to be putting in the arsenal. It could be another offensive threat to snowball into the next turn. It could be a defense reaction to make blocking for this Mirror Guide better. Vynnset could have taken that opportunity to block with the Face Purgatory, but would have rather kept the cards that they had. Choosing to banish the Malefic Incantation, kind of IPing yourself a little bit, not getting value off of that Rune Gate. But with 4 Rune Chance, the Sonata Galaxia is going to be able to tutor up one of their auras and gain go again.
I think we can probably... Occult, I believe, would probably be the pick. I'll be very surprised if it's Incant.
I've already seen Occult be played.
I believe they're running 2. Oh, playing...
Oh, Runeblood Incantation, actually. Pretty solid card coming out. We don't see that, I believe, as often in Vynnset. A lot of Vynsets would prefer to play more 0-cost options, but with Sonata Galaxia, this card effectively is a 0-cost.
Maybe the thought process behind the 1 cost are that when you can Creepers it in off of like a blue. Pitch a blue, Creepers in, Runeblood Incant, and generate your extra point. Yeah.
Vynnset doesn't play like a ton of blues, though, but I do think that the Sonata Galaxia is definitely a solid package with all these 1-cost auras. Definitely makes you very Runechant heavy and able to set up big power turns, which does look like what he is going to play for. But no Shadow non-attack action played, so the 4 Rune Chance and the Phantom Banshee, not preventable. Technically, this could be fully blacked. 4 Rune Chance is a pretty awkward number with your Tunic counter down. You won't be able to cleanly block them all. You could let the Rage Spectre die to prevent one, but 7 again is another kind of awkward breakpoint. So maybe if this Enigma Arsenal to D-react.
I'd be throwing my hand at this, make sure that I can ride that dragon to victory here.
Yep. There's also the consideration that because you have been blessed with a turn where Vynnset can't activate her hero power, you might want to just cash in the Ward 4 on the Mirror Guy while you still can. A lot of times, I end up doing that when I play this matchup because getting ward value is pretty rare. So taking the opportunities when you can is definitely a consideration.
They're actually just looking at the...
Picking up the Enigma, trying to figure out what they do. Unfortunately, probably can't read it. Picking up the full art version only to flip it over and realize that it's in another language. We see 3 enchants have been prevented so far. Probably thinking about this last one, whether or not they want to let the Rage Spectre deal with it, or if they can pitch another card. Looks like they're letting the Rage Spectre block it.
Probably give 2 cards in a Tunic here, or maybe Traverse.
Yep. It probably depends on how proactive the hand is. If the Enigma has good plays with their hand, I would probably consider letting the Mirror Guy die. Actually, with a D-React in Arsenal, that is the perfect answer. And now this Mirror Guy is going to be able to attack again.
Ooh, big dragon.
This game took quite a turn.
What are your thoughts of face perk into this dragon, if they wanted to?
I think that it's definitely good value. It really just depends on how good the Vynnset's hand is, right? If it does what you need it to do, then there's a consideration to just not use it and just keep your hand so that you can guarantee to kill this and get back on your game plan. But if you need to filter a little bit, then I could see doing it here. Or if after blocking with it and a random card, you're still confident that you have the pieces that you need, then yeah, it's definitely good value here. Enigma's not necessarily going to be attacking you for tall amounts of damage regularly and still having cards here. Although we do see Mage Master Boots, so that 10k burst damage is still looming. Although we did see 2 Spectral Manifestations pitched early. This is kind of a precarious situation for Vynnset here. Vynnset's been taking quite a few points of blood debt and self-damage throughout this game, and this Mirror Guy that was cast naturally off of a Transcended Chi, getting 16 damage in with Traverse and Mage Master Boots still in play, this Enigma definitely has the potential to just kill this Vynnset.
Hey.
Yep, looks like Face Purgatory is going to be the play here. Get rid of that Mirage and Metamorph.
Trying to draw a shadow card.
Trying to draw a shadow card.
Please.
Haunting Rendition is not what you want to see.
That's the one card you don't want to see, actually. That's probably the worst card to see. I guess the best thing here, though, is that you can banish it to Vynnset for Rune Chant.
You could do that, I guess.
Hey.
I assume those are 2/3 blocks, so you actually couldn't discard it here to make some Rune Chants because this Mirror Guy is being fully covered up anyways. Unless one of those is a 2 block, and then I guess you could still do it here. But I believe the block was destructive, widespread destruction. I don't remember what the non-attack he blocked with. But
I think it was Arcane Cussing.
Okay. So I guess he could have played it out, but maybe potentially choosing to banish it instead or keep it in hand.
Probably here. He's probably thinking about discarding the Haunting Rendition.
If Vynnset does not have another shadow, if Vynnset does not have a shadow non-attack in this hand, we're in real big trouble.
Oh no.
Off of this Runeblade incantation, she will have the ability to play this Eloquent Eulogy no matter what. But Malefic incantation, not shadow. Haunting Rendition, not helpful. If that last card isn't a shadow non-attack action, this game is in danger. Oh, it's a Machinations. No shadow non-attack again. That is rough.
Oh no.
Could choose to Arsenal this Malefic. You could play it, hoping that the overpower matters, but it's almost
You just
assuredly
block with
not going to
Traverse.
matter.
Yeah.
Block with anything. Looks like Enigma's going to probably keep this mirror guy and still have cards left over in their hand. Oh, this is so rough for the Vynnset.
Why, yes, I will pitch too.
We saw how powerful the turns from Vynnset could be earlier with that potential triple Runegate turn when you get the sequences of cards, Runechain Generation, Deathly Whales, but all of those were played when Enigma didn't have a board, and now that this mirror guy has come down, Vynnset's not able to copy that performance again. Looks like we do see the 10,000 year reunion in hand. Oh, very red heavy hand. That's really bad, actually, not seeing a blue. We do see a Fate Foreseen, I believe, so at least we'll be able to cover up this 4 without needing to expend any armor. We can still attack with this mirror guy by pitching the last card in our hand, but definitely not really what you wanted to see. You would hope to at least be able to keep another card for Arsenal or multiple to play something as an attack. So a little bit of sigh of relief for Vynnset, but 1 card 8. Enigma's Dragon Hammer coming out, being better than any Guardian ever was.
Oh my gosh, no attacks in the Vynnset's hand.
No attack actions at all?
None. It's 2 Sonatas and 2 Runeblood incants.
Sonata Galaxia, right?
Yeah.
That is, again, not what you want to see.
That is worst case scenario. Wee.
Well, Vynnset will be able to set up for a pretty powerful following turn.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He drew all of his auras. I guess, like...
See if there's any left in the deck.
I guess here you can block 8 with your hand and pass. Or...
Definitely not where you want to be. You wouldn't have to banish a card in your hand, I guess, if you did that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
No shadow cards to banish to Vynnset. Even if he wanted to keep something, he would have to discard a card just for a Runechant. But again, the problem still persists. This mirror guy is just getting in so much value here. Dropping down to 19. Traverse the Universe still hasn't come down. Although, if the Vynnset never attacks, then I guess the Enigma can't block with the Traverse the Universe, so there's that.
That's the real benefit.
Tunic coming down to set up some more auras. Another Runeblood Incantation, another Malefic. Tons of Runechant going to be made. Sonata Galaxia won't have go again, but gets to tutor up any other aura that they want.
I thought Enigma was the aura deck.
All of these strong Runeblade auras really coming out.
Holy smokes. I'm pretty sure the Enigma has the nuts in the hand with the Tunic coming to 1. Can double transcend, play another mirror guy.
Oh, this hand is so good, actually. You have levels of enlightenment plus 2 transcend cards plus the Rising Sun means you get to filter out an excess chi. The mirror guy's already going to attack for 8. Levels is going to have all modes active off of the go again. Well, actually, you're probably the Enigma's probably gonna pitch the Rising Sun here, but the Vynnset's next turn is gonna be insane. So Enigma needs to make the most out of this turn here now. I don't know what the theoretical ceiling of Vynnset turns are, but I know this Enigma is probably going to be taking some damage next turn. Unfortunately, the Vynnset is probably going to be having to take some damage this turn.
Yeah, if there is a next turn.
Looking to Tunic and swing the Mirror Guy. Doing that so that you can play the Path Well Traveled on this and then Rising Sun and double Transcend. I think I would have done the levels play myself just so that you can get all 3 modes on it and just push as much damage as possible. But Enigma player here valuing the card selection more with the Rising Sun. But they already have a weakest link in hand, so you know at least a semi-strong attack action is going to be able to follow up on this turn. But there's a lot of ways to play Enigma hands for sure. Either option is going to lead it to a lot of damage. Having a full hand and a Mirror Guy still on the board somehow is not something you see very often as Enigma.
I'm expecting that we see 2 dragons hit this board soon.
If the Rising Sun draws into another Mirror Guy, that would be kind of crazy. Go ahead and using this bloodied oval here while you can. Might as well. Yep, double transcending, resolving the path well traveled first so that you can potentially tutor the unnecessary chi with the Rising Sun. He did draw another Mirror Guy. That is quite crazy.
This is going to be a good turn, I think.
Your Mirror Guys are probably going to die because at this point, the chances that the Vynnset drew a shadow non-attack action are quite high. But if you just want to burst as much damage as possible, then playing another dragon for 8, just naturally, without Traverse the Universe. Things lining up very well here. Looks like they might...
I think the Arsenal... I think they bottom levels.
They either bottom levels or the Mirror Guy. I can't really tell. They decided to keep the weakest link. Yep. I think that's levels. So they actually decided not to go with the Mirror Guy play. Instead, wanting to stick with just attack actions here. Oh, wait, no, it is Mirror Guy. Never mind. Playing the Mirror Guy. Yep. Going to be another 8 damage here, followed up by 6 from the weakest link. I don't think Vynnset plays any no block cards. Maybe Oblivion.
They do not
play it in this matchup. But 6 damage is 6 damage. Not lethal technically, but going down to 1 as Vynnset is not really where you want to be. You wouldn't be able to activate your hero power. You wouldn't be able to sustain any blood debt for the rest of the game. Really, really needing to use the turn here, or the cards in hand here, but choosing to get down to 2. That means Vynnset has 1 more activation of their hero power for the rest of the game. It's going to be a pretty dang good one, though. Going to be able to destroy both of these Mirror Guys. But
yeah.
21 life still on the Enigma, and Vynnset going to be going to 1. These auras better hard carry here.
Oh, nothing's going to be more tilting than when the Enigma draws 4 blues and just blocks out.
Traverse the Universe still online.
Yeah. I'm just screaming.
Even if this Enigma never sees the 3rd Mirror Guy this game, almost any single use for this Traverse the Universe would be completely okay. Playing 2 natural Chi Mirror Guys without the use of equipment is just such a crazy sequence in a game. We will see if Vynnset is capable of pulling out some miracles here. Gonna have quite a few rune chants here, already up to 9 it looks like.
Insanity is what this is.
Machinations coming out. Phantom Banshee going to be throwing in quite a bit of damage. These mirror guys are going to die to the unvenomable damage.
Holy smokes.
But if Enigma's hand does anything offensive at all...
So yeah, I'll take the 12.
That's probably what I would be thinking. Even if you just block with Traverse here to get a chi to just activate hero power and attack for 2 go again. Like,
what are you going to do? Swing your weapon at me?
That's a card.
Come on.
Vynnset can't just block every turn. They need hands, they need life total to do their thing. Bye-bye, dragons. You did more than enough. 24 points of offensive value between those 2 cards leaving the battlefield.
Holy smokes. Is this where you would block with Traverse aggressively?
Yeah, if it depends on like if I can use my whole hand or not. Like, you do want to think about your life total. You know, you don't necessarily want to just eat all of this unless your hand is like definitely going to strip most of Vynnset's hand. But if I have any like way to utilize the cards in my hand, then I'm definitely not blocking here. And I would definitely, like I said before, Traverse just to get that Spectral Shield out, because it represents an entire card at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm. It
looks like there is some chi in the Enigma's hands, so activating the hero power is probably not going to be an issue here, but...
I think I see an Astral Etchings, which might just be the way that they kill him here. Oh, not even Astral Etchings. Grains and Astral Etchings.
Yep. The Enigma could block with Traverse here to activate her hero power on both players' turns, and then swing both Spectral Shields, threatening the reaction on both attacks, which just guarantees the game. Like, Vynnset's playing Reduced to Rune Chance, which could counter it, but if they don't draw that, then the etchings will just kill them on the first shield attack, and if they have it, then they have to play around it on the second one, and then you just have to play around it for the rest of the game, and you lose. Enigma going through the motions, making sure that what they want to do is possible in their hand, or if they need the extra card, probably thinking about if that Enigma Chimera in their hand, if he needs that for the resources, or if he can afford to just block with it.
Blocking with Tunic here pretty much just says, I don't think this game's going to go 3 more turns.
Just a safety net in case something happens. I think with the way that Enigma's hand is going to shape up, the Vynnset's pretty much locked out of this game, but better to be safe than sorry. Don't want to die to a random Sigil of Suffering or something.
Not this again.
And some beautiful altered Spectral Shields.
Aaron, you got to improve your game a little bit.
Illusionist players and their bling, what can I say? Yep, demanding a block. I forget it. Does Demigon block too? You could just play Grain here. Although interestingly enough, the drop in the ocean kind of counters it, so can't use the Grain as a reaction here. Oh, Vynnset actually picked up their deck thinking they were dead to the Grain, but probably didn't see the drop in the ocean there. But it doesn't matter either way, because the Astral Etching is going to come out. Razor Reflex in the end, killing the Vynnset. Really good start from the Vynnset player, but unfortunately, it's just like multiple turns in a row, just not seeing the pieces that needed to come together. No shadow non-attack actions into no attacks at all. Just allowed that naturally played mirror guy to just generate way too much damage. And that game definitely did not go to fatigue.
No, that was a crazy aggro game from the Enigma. It was a great game to watch.
But congratulations to Tsang. We definitely will be going into the top 8 on Enigma there. that has been the conclusion of the Swiss rounds of the ProQuest Plus in Hong Kong. Thank you everyone for watching, and we're gonna pass it back over to Nathan and Josh to cover the top 8 games.
Thank you so much. Hey man, did you get the KO deck in Worlds? No one's doing that, okay? Like,
Courage to play the whole horse down. Don't kill him. Get greedy. You need 2 cards. Some guys put him in the middle for now. That's perfect. All right, next year. Hard hand champion. We're gonna have to order a couple more.
Let me bone it and let me own it, my girl.